What's up, guys? Welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. I'm your host Caleb, and I felt oddly motivated to get a video out to you guys tonight. It's late, but again, I just felt oddly motivated. So recently I did a deck tech on Sicily and Otham, and honestly, I think it's pretty cracked. It was pretty fun to build, pretty fun to play, and does what I wanted to do, but people wanted a budget version. So today I'm going to kind of show you how to take one of my more expensive lists and make it budget. I'm talking sub $100. That way, hopefully you can do them with my videos, with my lists in the future. This is why I push following me on Moxville so hard. It's for you guys, not really for me, if that makes sense. I just think it's an amazing tool. Now, I do kind of feel like I have to defend myself every time I make one of these videos. I know I probably don't have to, but I do anyways. I'm not just going through and shoving all of the staples in decks. I promise, guys. What I'm doing is I'm trying to make the most synergistic possible, and sometimes that's going to include a card here or there. That's $40. But a ton of the community has been either playing for a while, so they have accumulated a lot of these cards already, or a lot of the community just proxies. So that's kind of why I don't think about price anymore. It kind of got to a point on YouTube a while back, I don't know if you guys remember, where all of the content was basically budget and none of the decks were optimized. I won't say none, but you know, few and far between. And I think we're kind of going in a different direction to where now all the decks are optimized, but maybe there's not as much budget. So today, hopefully I'm going to help you guys out, and I'm going to try to give you guys the tools to make all of your decks budget. That way, hopefully in the future, whenever you see a deck list, an idea that you like, you can just take the core of the deck, run with it, and make it budget. So without further ado, let's get into what I would do starting out if I was in your scenario.
Thing you want to do, it's really simple. You're going to hit that Alt and then 2, and then you're just going to get rid of the whole land base. Goodbye. We don't need any lands. That's going to be the bulk of the price. If you go all out on lands on a 5-color deck, yeah, it's going to be expensive. So, okay, so now we have the price of just the cards, and we're at $350. Still not budget, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to go through all of these cards, and you're going to get rid of anything that's not in your budget. Let's just put the dollar amount at, like, I don't know, $5, unless the card's very impactful. So Dothi 10, Atali 25. Galta's at $6. That's insane. We're gonna keep that though, because it's kind of important to the game plan and pretty abusable. That's another thing you have to be able to do while you're cutting these. You have to ask yourself, is this card worth the price for a budget deck? Because you really only have like 5 slots for cards that are not like 20 cents. So I think Galta is good enough to take one of those slots, if that makes sense. Hedetsugu and Kiri, perfect here, 19 cents. That's kind of where we want to be. $2 again, Gerard, $2, but he can kill the entire table, so that's definitely worth keeping. Likeness Looter for sure, Yargle and Multani definitely, and here's another one, Ruthless Technomancer, $3, not where we want to be, but the fact that this generates a ton of treasure tokens and it's solid reanimation on top of that, we have to keep this in the deck. Yeah, Shark Typhoon's just kind of a fun card. Same with Sneak Attack, it's kind of cool to only have to pay like 3 mana for any card in your deck, because the synergy with Otham is busted. You just sneak attack something out, it dies, but Otham just brings it back. Pretty cool. But and that's another thing to be thinking about here. Maybe you have a sneak attack and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect deck for it. So that's why I just go all out on these builds, because at the end of the day, Magic's very customizable, and you can make it to where this deck is yours, even though I built it. Underworld Breach, we'll get rid of that. Enlightened Tutor, yeah, we'll axe that. Mizzix Master, yeah, we don't need that. And then see Stormherd. We still get to keep a lot of the cool cards, right? We have Unite the Coalition, Emergent Ultimatum, Hit the Motherload. See, we're keeping a lot of the deck. Yeah, we can keep that. Atraxa, nope. But again, maybe you pulled an Atraxa. This is an amazing deck for it. The fact that we could just keep bringing it back with Ultham is extremely abusable. Disciple of Bolus, Farseek's fine. See, Greater Good, $10 almost. But this is just too busted. We can't take it out, so we're going to splurge for a Greater Good for sure. Yeah, Greven's fine. Last March of the Ants, nope. Minx can Boo, $4, but again, super busted. The fact that we get to draw cards, its removal, and then additionally it can make a massive hamster. It just kind of does everything the deck wants to do, so we're going to leave that one alone. Uro, that's $27. I did even spring for this art. I have this art and it's dope. It's the only way to play Uro. Probably gonna make that deck in the future. Not right now though, but yeah, we'll cut that for sure. Yeah, the Great Hinge is gone. Shirakai can stay. We're already at $150, which is pretty good. We're getting there. We're not there yet. Yeah, Bloom Tender's gone. Fairborough Elder we will keep though, just because he is a 5/5 with both of our commanders on the battlefield. So the fact that he's very powerful and then additionally taps for 5 mana, kind of too good to let go. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. 3 visits is gone. $5 for ramp. Kind of not where we want to be. We'll axe Savala. That's $9. But again, if you do have a Savala, really good in the deck. Anguish of Making for removal, not where we want to be. Again, very useful card, but I'd rather keep something like Call Forth the Tempest because that just synergizes with the deck better and does a lot more splashy things. So we're going to splurge for this, but get rid of the boring removal spell, right? Yeah, you're good. We'll get rid of Nissa. That's $7. Ruinous Ultimatum. Sucks to see it go, but that just can't be justified. And then additionally, we will get rid of Terror of the Peaks. So we are left with 46 cards in the deck, and our budget is down to $78. So that gives us about $20 to make this deck whole, which we can definitely do. But those cards need to be like not even $1, which again, we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because I don't think you guys want to watch me search up cards for an hour. And then I will be back with the ads and everything. Another thing to look at right before I go and come back immediately, right, is all of these will be in your recent history. So you can view your recent history and see all the cards that you cut. Now, why this is important is if you cut Last March of the Ents, that's a card draw spell. You need to replace it with a card draw spell. Otherwise, you're just going to throw off all the ratios of the deck. Uro, card draw spell. We need to replace it with card draw. So again, Great Hinge, card draw. So if you replace or if you take out 7 card draw spells, you better add in 7 card draw spells, or you're going to be like, what happened? There's no card draw. Well, you cut it all. So now just remember, like same with Savala, we'll have to find a replacement for her. We need more Power Matter cards. We cut a Power Matter synergy. We need another board wipe. We cut a board wipe. You know, it's just stuff like that. Just keep track of what you cut and try to replace it as best as possible. Stuff like Atali and Dothi, they're just going to be value picks, so we don't really have to worry about replacing them as much. Same with Shark Typhoon. Not really worried about that. Sneak Attack, very synergistic. Not worried. We're just going to shove it good stuff in there instead. And same with the Traxa. Traxa, we could probably find a decent replacement for. But yeah, I'll be back and you'll get to see if we found pretty good replacements or not. All right, I'm back. And before I get into what I added or what I didn't add, it's really important that you guys like this video, comment down below. Let me know that you appreciate these ones so I can keep making them. I see a lot of budget players out there. So if you're a budget player and you're enjoying this kind of content, I really need to know. Now, let's get into what I added and what we already know what I took out. But we added Tiller Engine because we did have to take out those expensive lands, and obviously we still need lands. So we put in a lot of tap lands. So we don't get time walked. We're just going to throw in this so we can untap our lands. It's just going to be awesome. Archelios, kind of the same thing, right? We just keep them untapped. Our lands enter untapped, and then we're happy campers. Spelunking, again, another way we can have our lands enter untapped. So now we have 3 sources that make it to where we're not time walking ourselves. Are you going to get those every time? No, but is it going to make the deck more consistent? Yes. Then we have all the tap lands. Oh my gosh. Let's sorry, I already added the lands. So let's first of all, the Riveteers, the Overlooks, there's a lot of cards that are going to look for basics. It's going to be a lot of mana fixing, so we're definitely going to be able to get the colors we need, but it's probably going to take a little longer than just being outright search for the ones you need, right? Okay, now we're getting into the meat of it. We added Elena, basically a budget Savala, so we were able to find a really good replacement for that one. Obviously, it is red mana instead of any combination, so it's worse, and it's another 2 extra mana. But again, we still found a solid replacement at an extreme budget. To Tanukai Transplanter, a little bit closer to Savala, again playing off that Power Matter strategy while getting us a ton of mana. Phyrexian Soul Gorger, now this one's solid because it sacrificed a creature, so we can sacrifice itself and then bring it back with Otham, so we always have an 8/8 on the battlefield to sacrifice and abuse, which is going to be solid. Primeval Protector, found this card, right? Super budget, 39 cents, does what we need it to do. It's going to be a 10/10, which is amazing, and that cost is definitely going to get reduced, especially when you're in a 4-player game. Apex of Power, another bomb we can cast for free using our commander Sicily, and we did take out a lot of card draw, so adding this in is going to be pretty good. Aminatu's Augury, going to be really good. Dig us deep, get us to some cards, and get us more free spells. Inspired Ultimatum, this is just going to be some solid card advantage. And again, remember, we are casting all of these for free. If you watch the original deck tech, which I will link to down below, you can go check that out too. And this is kind of the budget version, right? Conflux, this is going to be our tutor of choice. Now we can get 5 cards instead of just 1. This card's going to be pretty decent in the deck. Guruk's Wake, this is what we put in the deck instead of the Ultimatum. Still a one-sided board wipe, but doesn't hate on artifacts and enchantments, which kind of sucks, but it's okay. We'll take that. Austere Command, this one does hate on artifacts and enchantments, so we did add in another hard board wipe as well. Solemn Simulacrum, just a solid thing we can sacrifice, then it comes back to the battlefield. So something we can abuse with Otham, which is going to be pretty solid. Zamon and Dina, a solid sack outlet that's going to draw some cards. So now we can sacrifice our creatures to get value. Genesis Ultimatum, another ultimatum we added. This one's going to draw us a lot of cards and let us cheat some things into play. And then we added Soul's Majesty. So I think we did a pretty good job at replacing our very expensive spells. Now, obviously, if you did want to replace some of them over time, maybe you have a Last March of the Ends, maybe you were lucky to pull a Natali, you know, some of these things we can just go ahead and throw in the deck. But I think replacing Atraxa for stuff like Aminatu's Augury, that's a pretty good find. Kind of, you know, not one for one because we can't abuse the blink strategy, but we do get a cast of spells for free. So kind of a you know, give and take there. And now let's see what the final price of the list is. The final price of the list is 143 cents. Now, I know people like to look at budget as like $40 to $50 decks, but at that point, we'd probably be scrapping the entire deck and starting over. And at the end of the day, I think 100's at a pretty good place. That's at the higher end of budget, I will admit. But I still think $100 for a deck, making it to where every card on average is $1, is still pretty budget. But like I said, that is like where I cut off budget, honestly. I think $100 or $150 is above budget. You know what I mean? So that's definitely where it cuts off for me. And yeah, I'm going to leave this down in the deck list down below if anybody wants to build the budget version instead of not. The land base, I'm probably going to tweak the land base again, but I will make sure to keep the budget the same. It is late, so I'm going to just go to bed. But I will probably tweak the land base, make it a little more efficient because, again, it's kind of like atrocious being a 5-color deck, having all the tap lands and all that. So I might go in there, see if I can't make it a little more efficient. If not, we do have our own tapper. So yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching this video. Let me know if you enjoyed it down below. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I really need the feedback on this one, guys. As always, I hope this helped you in your deck building endeavors. And I will see you in the next one.